Some stories don't hurt because they are loud. They hurt because they unfold quietly, in moments you don't notice until it's too late. What if the person you trusted most was the reason you stopped feeling safe? The summer I turned 18 was supposed to feel like freedom. Graduation was behind me, the future felt open, but instead of excitement, I felt something else creeping in. Not sudden, not dramatic, just a slow, steady feeling that something in my home was no longer right. At the center of it all was Michael, my stepfather. He had been in my life for nearly a decade, long enough to feel permanent, long enough that I stopped thinking of him as someone separate from my mother. He wasn't strict, he wasn't distant, he was the kind of adult who joked too much, laughed easily, and avoided conflict whenever possible. For years, I thought that made him safe. I was wrong. When my mother left town for a work conference, nothing felt unusual at first. She traveled often, I stayed home. Life continued, or at least it pretended to, but without her presence, the house felt different, quieter, heavier. I started noticing things I couldn't explain. Not actions, but patterns. Michael began commenting on things he never had before. My schedule, who I texted, where I went after sunset. None of it was openly controlling. That's what made it unsettling. It was curiosity wrapped in concern, attention disguised as care. At night, the house felt too large and too empty. During the day, it felt watched. Not in an obvious way, but in the sense that I was never truly alone. I told myself I was imagining it. I wanted to believe that until the storm. The weather turned violent one evening, thunder cracking close enough to shake the windows. The power went out, plunging the house into darkness. I stayed in my room, phone dead, listening to the rain pound the roof. That's when I heard his voice from the hallway. Not loud, not urgent, just there. "Everything okay?" It was a simple question, but something in his tone made my chest tighten. I answered quickly, too quickly. When he walked away, I realized my hands were shaking. That was the moment I stopped lying to myself. Later, by candlelight in the living room, silence stretched between us like a wire pulled too tight. Every sound felt amplified. Every movement mattered. Nothing happened, and that was the point. The discomfort lived in what didn't happen and what could have. From that night on, I started keeping my distance, sitting farther away, leaving rooms earlier, finding reasons to stay busy. Michael noticed. People like him always do. He asked questions. I gave vague answers. He said we should talk. I said there was nothing to say. But the tension didn't disappear when my mother came home. It grew. She noticed it before I said anything. Mothers always do. The way I avoided eye contact, the way I flinched at raised voices, the way I stayed in my room longer than usual. One night, she asked me if I felt safe. I didn't answer. That silence told her everything. What followed wasn't explosive. It was quiet devastation. A conversation behind closed doors. Voices kept low but heavy. The sound of trust cracking. Michael denied wrongdoing, but denial isn't innocence when fear exists. My mother didn't ask for proof. She trusted instinct. We left the next morning. No screaming, no dramatic confrontation. Just suitcases, silence, and a house that suddenly felt hollow. I never went back. Years have passed since that summer. The memory still follows me, not because of what happened, but because of what I learned. That danger doesn't always announce itself. That trust can erode quietly. That listening to discomfort can save you. And that walking away is sometimes the strongest choice you can make. So, here's my question to you. If something in your life felt wrong, but you couldn't explain why, would you ignore it to keep the peace? Or would you choose yourself, even if it meant leaving everything behind? Because silence has a cost, and so does truth. The choice is always yours.